So yeah, thanks everyone for coming today. So we're really excited to do this webinar exclusively in the cyber and tech. It is quite a niche tailored webinar, so there's not a huge amount of us, but we really wanted to tailor it towards a certain industry. As you all know, you work in the cyber and tech. Marketing is not going to be the same as other industries. So we work heavily in the cyber and tech industry in marketing. So we're really pleased that we can tailor it to you guys today. So just go on to the next slide. So if anyone doesn't know me, my name is Zara Spurrier. There is a weird T in front of my name, just ignore it. I'm a strategic marketing manager at Wagada. So I head up the client services team and get involved in marketing strategies and helping people reach their business goals with marketing. So here at Wagada, we are a team of about 24. So we have offices in Cheltenham, St Albans and London. We are a full marketing service, so been around for about 12 years, and we are award winning, so we're super proud of that too. We've got 4 core marketing services, if anyone is aware. So it's broken down into digital marketing, website development, HubSpot, and employer branding. So digital marketing can mean lots of things, but we do social media, PPC, which is Google Ads, SEO, so getting you at the top of search, and also content marketing. So anything in the digital space, really. And it's really exciting. We're also at HubSpot Platinum Partners. Not sure if anyone what CRMs you use, but we work exclusively with HubSpot, supporting you with your CRM. We're also offering a kind of limited time only, like a spot check. So if anyone does have HubSpot, we have a dedicated team that can have a look for you free of charge and just see how you could be utilizing it more. If anyone does have HubSpot, you know, there's lots of different features, and yeah, we can help identify if anything that you could be doing more of within your subscription. Brilliant. So as mentioned before, we work in marketing in the tech and cyber industry. We're not exclusive to this industry, but it's something that we are super proud that we work in. So just some of our clients that we work with at the moment. Great. So I will hand over to Alex in a minute. If you do have any questions, it's brilliant. We love questions. But if you could save them till the end, Alex will be doing a Q&A. But please feel free to, I think everyone should have access to comment and message us on here with any questions. And what we'll do at the end is we'll collate them all and answer. Also, if you feel like you don't want to put it on the public stream, please feel free to message me or Alex separately, and then we can answer. But yeah, we're going to save probably a good 10 minutes, aren't we, Alex, to
definitely.
Lots of questions, and we'll do our best. Brilliant. So
Amazing.
I'll hand over to you, Alex.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex. I'm one of our digital marketing account managers here at Wagada Digital. So I work with clients across a range of industries, cyber and tech being one of them. Really getting to know sort of the nitty-gritty of the businesses, the goals, and kind of guiding our clients through the tactics to achieving them. So what are we going to be looking at today? We're going to be doing a bit of an overview of some kind of key trends within the industry, you know, the importance of understanding them to be able to use them to your advantage, the importance of prioritizing that sales and marketing team alignment, and then moving on to build a strong brand through target audience identification, brand positioning, and communication. We're going to be then having a bit more of a deep dive into some specific digital marketing tactics and kind of discussing a multi-channel marketing approach, and hopefully leaving you all with some actionable insights that you can take away today to identify some areas of opportunity for your business. So the cyber and tech industry, I've got to say, it's got to be up there as one of my favorite industries to work in, simply because of the speed at which it's growing, and the sort of excitement around that. You know, it's something that I think all companies need to tackle and embrace really as the world changes. Looking at cyber security, for example, you know, no longer is it something that can just kind of be brushed over to the IT department. You know, it's more and more so becoming part of that top level strategic planning within a business. So a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity, and yeah, a generally really exciting space. But of course, in any marketplace where you have this level of growth, you are going to have ever-changing trends and sort of challenges that you face as well. Um, and in order to be able to use it to your advantage, it's of course essential that you understand the marketplace that you're operating in. So I'm sure you'll all be more than familiar with these, but to kind of run through as a bit of an overview. It's of course already an incredibly complex regulatory environment, and that's showing no sign of halting or slowing down anytime soon. You know, there's constant new regulations being introduced for both businesses and providers, an increased pressure, I think, put on businesses to become more cyber resilient. Following sort of post-COVID, you know, the demand for working from home has skyrocketed, and with it the requirement for cloud computing and hybrid solutions. Um, ESG, kind of the buzzword that we're very much seeing at the moment, you know, more and more so. People are looking for a sustainable supply chain, and they're, you know, they're considering how your business and partnering with you is going to impact themselves. And of course AI, which we will discuss in a bit more detail later on in this webinar, is ever present.
Everyone's favorite word at the moment, AI.
Oh, isn't it just ESG and AI, very much so. Um, so faced with these challenges, you know, how best to drive this forward and tackle. It's by no means Monday morning doom and gloom. In fact, very much the opposite. It's all an opportunity to embrace these trends, and kind of lead the way and give yourself that competitive edge. Um, and of course, we move on to the strategy. So again, with the growth, with this ever increasing opportunity, you're going to have a bit of a crowded market space, as I'm sure you're all very much aware. So how do you stand out amongst the competition? It's obviously all about brand awareness and visibility, increasing lead generation, and ultimately, once you've got those customers, retaining them and you know, nurturing that relationship to make sure that they stay with you for renewal or whatever that may look like for your business. But sales and marketing sit very much at the heart of this. So before looking externally, it's important to take a step back and have a look internally. One of the biggest challenges that I see clients across all industries face internally is communication between various departments within the business, particularly it seems sales and marketing, and even understanding, you know, why this is important. But I mean, to put it simply, you can see here, businesses with effective sales and marketing team alignment are achieving 208% greater revenue. So it just really hits home of how important it is to have everybody singing off the same hymn sheet. And you know, taking it a step further beyond that revenue growth, we also see 67% of salespeople are more effective at closing deals. You know, you've got a 58 increase in customer retention, and it all boils down to that relationship between sales and marketing. Is the marketing team providing the sales team with that, you know, that collateral, all of those marketing pieces, be it a blog, a white paper, a downloadable resource, it's all feeding into the sales team's armory, and it's allowing them to demonstrate to the clients, what it is that your company can offer. So something that I would really encourage you all to do today is to go away and speak to your sales team. Really get to understand them, find out what challenges they face, ask them, what questions are they asked, maybe even what conversations do they dread having. And once you've kind of established that, you can then have a look at the resources that are available to them. Are they dreading having these conversations because they feel that they haven't got the kind of ammo to back it up? And that can be quite a nice sort of step one, I suppose, to kind of pave the way for changes and future tactics moving forward. So, fed with this information from the sales team, of course, you then want to be moving forward and looking at developing your strategy. So this is an example of how we create our digital marketing strategies here at Wagada. So we start with a situational analysis, which is very much a where are we now style exercise. You want to look at what you're doing well, what you're doing not so well. Consider the marketplace. What are the opportunities? What are the threats? And once you have that established, you then want to move on to setting your objectives.
And I think,
followed
well,
by
Alex, just to link into the situational analysis is competitors as well, which once you look at yourself, there's so many competitors that might be out there, just kind of getting into like knowing what they're doing. Yeah, I think that's really important too.
Absolutely, and we'll kind of go into a bit more of a kind of focus on the situational analysis as well, because it's one of the most, if not the most, essential parts of the strategy that you need to be able to get right to essentially inform everything else kind of moving forward. And of course, as Zara mentioned, a really good place to start with the situational analysis is having a look at your competition. What are they doing? And I would say sort of surrounding the situational analysis. Very often you'll speak to managers, you'll speak to business owners even, and you'll say, situational analysis, and you're very much greeted with, "Oh, I know that bit." And absolutely you do. Of course you do. It's your business. It's the company you work in. Of course you know who your competitors are. Of course you know what your USPs are, what you're trying to achieve. But do you know it strategically? Do you know why? Do you know how? Do you know the what ifs or the so whats of the whole of the situation? And that's very much what this section of the strategy is looking at, and that's something that you want to be considering when you're looking at your competitors. What are they doing, what's working well, and if something is working well, why is it working well? Because you can essentially take all of that information along with sort of learning from the mistakes so that you don't have to make them yourself, and kind of feed that in to create a bit of a benchmark really, for you to then move forward. And probably one of the most important parts of this initial stage of the strategy is understanding your audience. Ultimately, if you don't know who you're talking to, it's not going to work. So, of course, demographics are key to understand. You want to have a think about, who are these people? What are their interests? What do they value? But taking it a step further, you can then start to consider, whereabouts in the journey are they? But why are they coming to you? It might be that they have an existing solution, but they're at the point of renewal, or perhaps the business has grown, so they're only just faced with a need for what you can offer them. What are the new challenges that kind of bring them to you in this instance? And you can also take that another step further, and you can look at segmenting your audience groups. Perhaps looking at within those specific groups, who is aware of the solution that they need, and who isn't aware, and the sort of different tactics and means of communicating to them. And of course, once you've worked out who you're talking to, you need to nail on the head what keeps them awake at night. You need to understand essentially, what are their pain points, what are the challenges that they face. Without knowing this, your tactics are going to lack strategy, essentially. You need to be able to demonstrate that you understand the complexities of the space that they operate in, and sort of take it that step further to communicate, how you're going to make their lives easier. And this sort of leads quite nicely onto brand positioning. So really, really important to establish this for consistency amongst many other reasons. We typically, when creating strategies, we focus on three kind of core characteristics. And these essentially form your brand's personality. Whatever you choose and you establish here, it's going to be used throughout all types of communications. And again, just keep everything consistent. You want people to engage with a channel, be it social media, be it email marketing, the website, whatever it may be. You want people to be able to recognize that's you, and your personality is coming through there. Using Apple as an example, so their three characteristics, if you like, that they've chosen: innovation, simplicity, and user experience. We've got two examples here. The first one, the Think Different campaign, which I'm sure some of you will be aware of, and the second being an advertisement for a new product. So at first glance, you'd think that these two are quite different, quite chalk and cheese. But really, the more you look at it, the first thing that becomes obvious is that from both of those images, you can identify that it's Apple. And not only that, the way that it's communicating, the language, it's simple, it's concise, and it's enticing as well. It makes you want to find out more. So moving on to some tactics. This is the race framework that we use for marketing here, and it provides a nice visual of kind of the customer journey that you want your tactics to be supporting, essentially. It's really important that your approach is customer focused. You want to make sure that you're giving people what they've come here for, and ultimately it's all about kind of nurturing those warm leads and with the right intent that you can then pass onto the sales team. And that's very much why we always sort of recommend adopting a multi-channel approach. Again, it's about getting that consistency. You want to consider the touch points as well that your customer may have. It's very rare that somebody's going to go to the website, they're going to read what you do, and they're going to purchase then and there. The cyber and tech space, the typical touch points is usually between 7 to 13, and that's to reach conversion. So the average person is gonna engage with you in one form, one platform, one channel or another, 7 to 13 times before we're actually making a purchase. So that kind of goes to show why it is so important that you're communicating consistently across all channels. So 75% of users don't scroll past page one. I think in light of this, search engine optimization is a good tactic to start with. So it's typically split into kind of two sides, as it were. You've got the more technical elements of SEO. So that's looking at things like your site speed, mobile readiness, site architecture and structure, that sort of thing. And you then also have the more kind of front-facing element to SEO as well. So that kind of plays into your content more so. So ultimately, everything that you're doing with SEO, you're aiming to increase reach and visibility to the right people. And this is where focusing on the more sort of front-facing content side of things, this is where keyword research comes into play. So we've done the legwork. We know who our audience is. We know what their challenges are. but how are they searching for them? How are they going out and searching for these solutions that they need? It's by no means an easy feat. It can take extensive rounds of kind of research, and it very much can be testing and trial and error. But it's arguably half the battle. You know, once you've got that, once you understand these search terms and kind of keywords that are getting through to the right people, you're halfway there. So I think with keyword research, it can always be quite difficult to think, you know, where to start, and particularly if you're not familiar with perhaps some of the tools that you can use that shows you the search volumes and the intent kind of behind the various keywords. So we usually recommend focusing on long tail keywords, they're called. So that is a search term of typically no more than, no less than 3 or 4 words. And you'll have obviously various intentions behind that. Now, while you might have a lower search volume, or you will have a lower search volume behind, say, one of these longer tail keywords, or fintech, for example, you are going to have a better matched intent. You're also going to have much lower competition, meaning it's going to be easier to rank for the keyword. You can see from these examples we've got here, there's a box on the left, which gives it a score out of 100. And that is essentially an indication of how easy it would be to appear in a results page for this keyword. We typically, anything below sort of 35 would take as fair game. So both fairly achievable here. But you would think from, you know, we've said there's lower intent there, there's lower competition there, for example. You would think that that means perhaps, you know, it's not as desirable, or there's not as much benefit or advantage of going after them. Whereas actually what we see, because you're nailing the intent, you're closer to the intent and the purpose of why somebody is researching this term, you can actually have higher conversion rates. So it's very much one of those tactics that it can result in a lot of quick wins for the brand. And once you've established these keywords, so a couple of sort of best practices, I suppose, that we always recommend implementing, again, as kind of a quick win, as it were, when it comes to SEO. So looking at the more technical side of things, you want to be optimizing your metadata. So that is the title and the description that Google gives your page in a search page results, essentially. You want to make sure that the keyword, whatever it may be, is integrated into both the title and the description as well, to sort of be in with a chance to rank as highly as possible. And moving on to the more front-facing content side of things, very similar exercise. You want to be integrating the target keyword into both the content and also the headings throughout the page as well. Now, a key thing to note here, we would recommend against keyword stuffing. It can be incredibly tempting when you're optimizing content to be putting the keyword in there of every other word. But ultimately, you want it to still read naturally. You don't want somebody to think, you know, be reading through when they've come here for an answer to a problem. You know, think that's the 5th or 4th. 6th time, whatever it may be, that I've come across this word. So yeah, integrating sort of naturally into the content.
Yeah, and just to back up what you said, Alex, keyword stuffing, actually Google is just getting smarter and smarter, and they'll just notice it, and they might even flag it as spam. So yeah, you've got to be smart when you're putting the keywords in. As annoying it is, I would love to just put it everywhere, but yeah, it doesn't work.
Definitely, there's an art to it. There is an art to it for sure. And so taking this kind of keyword research and the front-facing sort of SEO side of things a step further, we would really recommend creating a content strategy. So it's really important that every piece of content has a purpose. if you're writing something and you can't answer, why am I writing it, and what benefit is it going to give, then you shouldn't be creating it. Um, Ultimately, not only is this going to be good for SEO, but it also means that your content's going to be more hard hitting, and you're going to be sort of really paving the way as kind of a thought leader in that space. I mean, ultimately, the more often you're ranking for these relevant queries, in sort of a Google page listing, not only have you won half the battle with Google, but you're also going to be building that trust and authority, with your potential customers as well. So a couple of examples here from our lovely clients that we work with, within the industry. Again, it all feeds into, what the marketing team can kind of bring to your sales team to really back them, provide that reinforcement. If they're talking to, a potential customer or a prospect, and they say, oh, we're having X problem at the moment, or we've noticed X observation within the industry. If they've got that white paper or blog that they can say, oh, actually, if you want to find out more, go and read this. It's a way to just really demonstrate your kind of knowledge and expertise, in the area, and not to mention is a fantastic sort of trust signal, as well. You can also provide, or have gated content, on the website. So this typically would take the form of perhaps an ebook, or a white paper, for example, where people have to input their details to be able to download it. And this is obviously a brilliant source of lead generation, as well. So there really is so much that can be done with content. Again, really important to consider the touch points here. This could be somebody's first interaction with the brand, or it could be someone's eighth interaction with the brand. You need to make sure you've got something for everybody. And regardless of where you are in the journey, whether you're looking for more answers to your problems, or perhaps just to get a bit more information around the area, you want to make sure that you can satisfy all intents there. So taking, a step back, we spoke about the importance of content having purpose, which sounds simple, but again, it's a very, very common challenge, that we see businesses face. So how best to approach this? A kind of tip that we always recommend is developing your content pillars. So these are going to be your typically three, core topics, but it can be more, sort of between 3 and 5, that are essentially going to form the foundation of all of the content that you produce. So taking, cybersecurity as an example. So your core topic might be, email phishing prevention, for example. But the subcategories that then come from that, you can have a look at, behaviors to look out for in the workplace. Are your employees doing this sort of thing? You could perhaps do measures that businesses can put in place. You could even have a look at, generational trends, surrounding it as well. You can see quite quickly how from one core topic, you've kind of got a wealth of content that's just opened up. So again, something that, I would encourage, everybody to do is to go away and consider, your content pillars. You may already have these in place, but if you don't, what could they be? Think about your USPs. What makes you different? Perhaps there's a niche solution that you offer, that could be a core topic, or perhaps it's something that all of the competition offers, but you just have a different angle to it. So yeah, have a think about what these could be. Again, it all comes back to consistency, and just making sure you've got something for everybody, who comes to the website. Ultimately, content marketing is one of those things that it can just essentially fuel the whole of the customer journey. Along each of the various touch points, it's about exciting, engaging, cultivating these warm leads, again, with the right intent once they've been engaging with your content. So Google Ads, is a really nice tactic, actually, to support SEO. And it is often favoured um, due to being more of a quick win tactic. So typically SEO, it's an essential fundamental practice. You need to have these things in place, but you can implement something today and it can be 6 months down the line until you're going to start to see, noticeable results from it. Whereas Google Ads, you're perhaps looking at half of that time, if not less. But of course, this does come at a price. So it's all about, as a tactic, Google Ads, it's all about managing it correctly, really getting down into the nitty gritty of it. It's very mathematical. A lot of maths goes on behind the scenes of Google Ads. But yeah, essentially, you want to work out how you can get the most for your money.
Yeah, and I think Alex said it can be quite pricey. As you all know, it's a competitive market with the tech and cyber. So before we do Google Ads, we would look at, and we'd recommend that you look at what keywords you want to target and how expensive they are versus, how important are they to you? Because you could, if you put in every keyword that you wanted to target, I promise you'll be spending a lot of money. So it is a bit more tactful where you have to think, right, what will bring you the most revenue. But you might have huge budgets and actually it's worth it. But we deal with quite a lot of cyber and tech that they need leads from it. So we really home in on the keywords and where that budget should go. And then also when we look at results, should we do more of this or should we do less of that? Yeah, and it can change quite a lot because yeah, Google will charge you quite a bit when something's super competitive, unfortunately.
Definitely. It's all about continuous ongoing optimization as well. Even if you've got a huge budget, you want to make sure you're getting the most for your budget that you can. So we will constantly review keywords. What type of traffic is it bringing? Are people engaging? Are they converting once they're directed through to the website? It's very much, even though it is more of a quick win in terms of the immediate sort of conversions. It is again a long game in terms of really refining the keywords and getting it right. Um, and similar to SEO, so we recommend focusing on long tail keywords, so those longer sort of search terms for Google Ads. Um, take so for example, instead of cybersecurity, you could look at cybersecurity software for small businesses. Again, you're going to have the lower search volume as with SEO, but ultimately you're targeting people who are further along in that purchasing journey, and have a higher likelihood to convert. Essentially. Another kind of tip or something that's worth considering is where you are sending people when they click through
Yeah.
from the ad. So you appear in Google, where are you sending them? You obviously want to make sure that the page is easy to navigate and that they can convert, be it a form submit or a phone call, an email click. You want to make sure they can do that as quickly as possible, of course. But you also need to make sure that whatever search term has brought them to your ad, this search term is also included into the content on this landing page. Reason being, Google gives you a quality score. So the closer your landing page matches the intent of what the person was initially searching, the better your quality score is going to be. And this has a direct impact on your cost per click. So it's yeah, a really good way to start to get a bit more bang for your buck. So got some examples here of cost per lead by industry for this year. Now, working out your cost per lead is a really important exercise to do, and it probably sounds like stating the obvious, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people may already have existing marketing tactics in play, or outside of marketing. It could be any sort of tactic in play. But they don't really understand what that cost is to them as a business when they eventually get somebody converting. So we've kind of got here some examples of organic, that's the SEO and kind of content side of things, and paid as well. And you can see it's fairly consistent within the sort of industries that we've got there. But essentially, by knowing your cost per lead, you're going to have an idea of what your budgets are. if you don't understand your cost per lead, you could end up spending too much or perhaps not enough. So yeah, it really, really important exercise to kind of inform your tactics, I suppose, moving forward. And again, I feel like I'm giving everybody a lot of homework for a Friday, but I promise this is the last one. Really, like I said, it's a really good exercise to do to know your cost per lead. And if this isn't something that you know currently, would really encourage you to go away and consider your kind of current efforts and perhaps even future efforts that you're considering, and have a think about the resources that go into achieving the end goal, being your converted customer. Think about the people it takes, the time it takes, the length of that sales process. Again, it's just a really helpful exercise to kind of help you choose, I suppose, the relevant tactics moving forward and have a good idea of budgets there. So you'll start to see how a lot of these tactics are all incredibly intertwined. But having a user-friendly website is crucial. It's quite a sort of shocking stat that 88% of people who have a bad website experience are unlikely to return. But essentially, this could be somebody's first engagement with you. They may have come direct to the website, or perhaps they've come to you from social, whatever it may be. It's all fine and well, having a really good understanding of your brand positioning, and using the tactics correctly and communicating well across them. But ultimately, you need your website to walk the walk, essentially. We've worked with a number of brands in the cyber and tech space, to kind of develop these sort of user-friendly and sort of trust building websites. And I've got to say, it's quite a challenge for the industry. I think being in the cyber and tech space, people just seem to have a bit of a higher expectation of what they should see when they get to the website. But that's not to say, sorry, doorbell. That's not to say that it needs to be this really complex, lots of information there sort of on the page. In fact, quite often less is more. So it's all about, obviously, you need to be communicating who you are, what you do, what you offer. But think of the bits outside of that, the trust signals. What's going to make people, engage with your website and think, oh, these people know what they're talking about. And this can be in the form of perhaps case studies or reviews. You could take it a step further and develop industry or sector specific landing pages even, to really, really show that you understand the complexities that they face in their environment and how you can help them. And kind of taking this a step further, we touched on technical SEO factors earlier, so the sort of the site speed and mobile readiness, site architecture. But user experience is vital for a website. It's absolutely vital. You need to make sure that people can navigate the website, and if they're looking for information, you want them to be able to find it as quickly as possible. There's nothing worse than sort of getting to a website and you know what you're looking for, but you just can't find it, and perhaps you'll visit sort of multiple pages, you're still not getting it, and then you get frustrated and you move elsewhere. But I mean, ultimately, good websites encourage people to stay on them for longer, and that's what you want. You want people engaging with your content, because I mean, the longer that they're spent there and with you, the more likely they are to convert, be it a form submit or sending an email or calling you. So yeah, user experience is a really important one to consider for the website. So these are a few of the tactics we've kind of gone through in a bit more detail that are all sort of really valuable and really important. But there's a magnitude of kind of tactics out there, all with their own kind of benefits and sort of uniqueness that they bring to the table. Email marketing is kind of a good example of this, and I wanted to mention because in particular the tech industry has really good success rate with email marketing. It is quite an old but gold strategy, but it continues to be one of the channels with the highest conversion rates. So it still works, and it's a great way to again kind of nurture those leads, but also stay at the forefront of people's minds. So it's very much worth considering. And of course, social media. A lot of businesses still aren't using LinkedIn to its full potential. And you know, it can be a great space to kind of build the brand and share the brand's personality and kind of tie all of the tactics in together, really. So again, it's definitely worth considering and being consistent with your approach to it. But I mean, all of these tactics that we've gone through, they're ultimately all working towards the same thing. You know, it's in enhancing, reinforcing, building the reputation of the brand, increasing reach and visibility to get you in front of the right people, and ultimately, you know, moving people along that customer journey and sort of, regardless of what interaction it is, making sure that they're carrying on to the next stage, as it were. So of course, it would not be right to not mention the elephant in the room, AI. Um, Tools and capabilities are constantly adapting and developing. I think if we even looked at a 6 month space, the advancements have been colossal, and quite frankly, it's something that businesses have to embrace. Um, you know, there's an AI tool for pretty much any process that's out there, and more businesses are introducing it, you know, to optimize operations, to better inform sort of decision making. So it's one of those. I think if you may already be using AI within your business, but it's definitely an important one to address if you're not quite there yet. And exactly that. So those who use AI the best, the most effectively, are going to gain a powerful strategic advantage. You know, it can be a brilliant tool for improving efficiency and, you know, doing those really laborious, time consuming tasks that you don't really need to be doing, and then that can free you up to have more time focusing on it may be creative or whatever it is that your role requires more of. But yeah, like I say, it can be used across all sorts of numbers of things. AI being sorry, content being a brilliant example of this. So I'm sure at least some of you are familiar with ChatGPT. I know we definitely all are. But it's an excellent tool. Really good. You can essentially give it a very simple prompt, and it can create a quite substantial piece of content in a matter of seconds, where typically it might take a person, you know, sort of hours to do. So you can see how some brands and some businesses perhaps got quite wrapped up and a bit carried away. The temptation, obviously, to go to ChatGPT as default. But this is where human intervention comes in. So ultimately, AI is great, but it's not a person. And Google doesn't like the kind of generic generative content. So in March, there was a big core algorithm update rolled out across Google that penalized companies who had sort of heavy use of AI generated content on their website. And we saw across kind of a number of brands, but I mean it was across all industries, everywhere. Some quite sort of detrimental effects that the you know recovery from which is still ongoing. So that probably all sounds a bit strange that I've sat here and I've kind of preached the benefits of AI, and then I've said, oh, you know, don't use AI on the website following this core update. But essentially, it's all about being smart with it. I really do stand by AI is a brilliant tool. And going back to ChatGPT, use it for what it's good at, essentially. If you take a creative task, for example, so let's say writing a blog or a white paper, you know, use it as a starting point. It can be a great way, perhaps if you're a small team, or or everyone's really busy and getting a kind of date in the diary to brainstorm is tricky. It can be a great starting point for some ideas. It can generate templates or outlines that can kind of help you structure the blog and kind of get over that initial writer's block. Um, and it's very much one of those as well, that the more you give it, the more you get back, which you may be familiar with, is kind of all in the prompt. But something that we kind of use in-house is creating your own custom chat GPTs. So essentially, and this is the prompt that we use, ask me at least 20 questions about my business, customers, audience, and anything else you need in order to complete the task to the best of its abilities. So it will then come back and it will ask you various questions about your target audience group, your tone of voice, your positioning, all of these various elements it needs to then be able to create that really tailored content. And I'm by no means saying that what it gives you is what you take away and put on the website, but it's a good starting point. It's always going to need tweaking and the intervention and the structuring of it. But it's a really good place to kind of spark the further ideas moving forward. And finally, so it's all fine and well having all of these tactics in play. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you can measure your ROI, essentially, and that's where data kind of comes into play. It is a particularly tricky industry to quantify success, being completely honest. Simply down to the fact that a lot of the users that you're trying to collect the data from are within the tech, IT, cyberspace themselves. So they're very aware of the various controls that are out there. They probably have a cookie blocker in place. So it can make collating data surrounding traffic quite challenging. But having said that, there's a lot of really good tools out there to be able to kind of process the information that it can get. Google Analytics is brilliant for this, and it's really good to kind of give you a bit more of an insight into user behaviors and trends, especially as they're working their way around the website. And again, businesses who follow these data-driven sort of approaches tend to see 5 to 8 times as much ROI. And I think why is this? And put simply, all of the tactics that we've kind of gone through today, they're not set it and forget it type strategies. They need continuous monitoring and ongoing optimizations. And within the industry, as you will all be aware, it's constantly adapting and changing. And with that, a keyword that might work really well one day, might not be of any value at all the next day, because people's views or regulations, whatever it may be, has all completely changed. So it's really important to kind of factor in the ongoing maintenance of these tactics that you're employing. And yeah, I mean, essentially, it helps to show you what's working as well. So it highlights, the areas of opportunity and kind of where to target your efforts, essentially. And I kind of mentioned Google Analytics. Google Search Console is also a really great tool to use for this. You can get some really good insights to help understand the traffic coming to your website. You can see, what keyword is driving traffic. Is the content resonating with people? You can look at engagement rates and how long they're spending on a page, and what page are they landing on, so you can see what search terms are performing the best, essentially, from your optimizations. Again, it's all about identifying what's working well, and kind of taking that forward to be able to focus your tactics moving forward. So, to run through kind of key takeaways and bits that we've talked about today. So, the importance of aligning marketing efforts with business goals and really focusing on that communication and the relationship between the sales and marketing team is crucial. Understanding your audience and their pain points, improving visibility and attracting high quality leads through that multi-channel approach that we've discussed, and the importance of content. Of course, it's the key to thought leadership and building trust with your audience. Using data analytics to be able to measure success and your ROI. And of course, remaining flexible in the industry as things change. So I hope you found that of some use and that wasn't too difficult for for a Friday morning. I'll hand back over to Zara and we would welcome any questions you've got.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. That was brilliant. Lots of information, but like I said, we will follow up with the link to this and yeah, any more information. I just wondered if anyone had any questions at all. It's fine if not. We did actually get privately, but does anyone have any before we move on to that?
Morning. Thanks, ladies. That was
No
really
worries.
good
Morning.
presentation, really insightful. And it was interesting what you said about using ChatGPT for blog writing, because I've always sort of tried to sort of write a blog sort of every once a week just to get fresh content onto our website.
Brilliant.
And started using ChatGPT over the last few months, just like you say, is using a starting point. And I just wondered if Google still actually, sort of prioritizes that fresh content when people are searching. Do the crawlers still sort of push you up onto sort of first page results when you've got regular content going onto your website?
Absolutely. So I think of the few things that you said there, it sounds like you're being really consistent with your approach and what you're doing there, which is great. That's something that's going to be favoured. In terms of the quality of the content. So quality is very much still a ranking factor. It's all about kind of briefly touched on it before, but if somebody's put a search query, whatever it may be, and they're landing on your page, the longer they're spending, the more they're engaging with it. That's all going to kind of feed into that quality score that you're getting. So absolutely, the quality of content is vital. And again, I think great to hear. It sounds like you're using ChatGPT in a way that we would and we would recommend. It can be that brilliant starting point, but absolutely that kind of intervention and putting your own ideas in there. Google will know all of this. It can smell when something's purely AI produced, essentially. But yeah, that quality is very much so key for across all content, really.
Yeah. I completely agree. And something I was just thinking, obviously a weekly blog is brilliant, but if you find that, it is hard to keep coming at the week, I wouldn't personally be afraid to do like bi-weekly if you don't feel like you could focus on the quality of the blog, because I know you're probably really busy, Rona. So if for 1 week you want to focus on like a stronger blog that might have more content in, we would recommend that than trying to get out 2 blogs because you want to keep doing it weekly. You won't necessarily be penalized, but the fact that you're putting fresh content every month, you're doing the right thing. And it's good to check because it used to be like the core and it is still core. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Something that came up when my company was acquired by a bigger organization last year, and the marketing operations manager actually said that a blog should be about 1,500 words. And I thought that was way too many words. So I was sort of creating content. This was before ChatGPT, I guess, really emerged in the new year of this year, didn't it? To sort of commercial businesses. So this was sort of last year, and I thought, well, isn't it better to write a shorter blog, but also more regular, like you've suggested, a couple of times a week? just to get that fresh content out there. And I thought 1,500 words was
It's hard.
actually really time consuming as well, trying to,
Yeah.
sort of start waffling on a little bit. But so we sort of differed in opinions on that, and just be interesting to hear what you guys think about the length of a blog. I guess it depends what it's about and what the subject matter is.
She has a point, like the blogs need to be a certain length. I think 1,500 is quite a lot, but it depends what the topic is. We would always say, and I think if you agree, Alex, I think anywhere between 800 to 1,000 is kind of what we recommend. I wouldn't want to recommend anything lower than that. But yeah, just to get to 1,500 every time, yeah, that is a lot. But if you're doing around 1,000, for me, we'd happily be posting. That's what we would be telling our team to focus on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, 800 to 1,000 is about the ballpark.
Yeah, I
Lovely.
think
Okay.
you know, the more the better, but
Yeah.
you're right in the sense of longer blogs are good, but if you're then making up words because you're trying to get it longer, then you're going to be penalized because it isn't, you know, great content. So
The quality is going to start to deplete then, isn't it? You want it to be feeding back to that quality. So yeah, definitely, I agree, Sarah. I think
doing that weekly,
800 to 1,000
Rona,
words.
that must be your full-time job.
Well, actually, it has taken up a lot of time, and there's a team of us doing it now, actually.
Yeah.
So it's not just myself. So there's sort of more marketing individuals working on refreshing the website content and stuff. So it's not just me, to be fair. But yeah, that was what it was becoming a bit boring, and I thought I'm just waffling on here.
Yeah.
But obviously, keeping it interesting is a key thing. Like you say, you've got to engage your reader and get your point across, but also you want people to convert. You want people to sort of take note and
you
get
can
in touch with you. You want a clear call to action. If this is of interest, especially with cybersecurity. We partner with the likes of WatchGuard, who was on your vendor presentation, and Sophos is another one, Microsoft. So there's so much content and things going on out there. I said, well, about doing a podcast or something like that once a fortnight, just to get some different content out there.
That'd be brilliant. And video content.
Yeah, video content. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we've started using an app called Powtoon, which is quite a nice sort of easy application which creates good video content. You could just put in any customer pain points, and it gets a lot of information across quite quickly. But again, it's difficult to know where to place that video. Do you put that in an email campaign, embed it into your sort of marketing campaign via email, or do you sort of direct people, put it on the homepage of your website, or do a link to YouTube, for example, just to drive people to there? But LinkedIn, again, is another one where we've sort of posted video content, and it just tends to catch people's eye, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the beauty of things like video is you can repurpose it. So you can use it across, multiple channels and get very different sorts of responses and engagements across each. Yeah, I don't think there's really a right or wrong essentially in terms of where to be using it. But yeah, it sounds like some really exciting things. And I mean, that's one of the great things about marketing is there's just so much that you can do. And it's all about kind of embracing these sort of new and emerging tactics and things going on really, and kind of keeping you that one step ahead of the competition, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think like I'm really pleased that you've enjoyed it, Rona, because when we worked on it and Alex was working on it, we were like, shall we just focus on certain tactics? But actually they all matter. So it's probably a lot that we've gone through, but they all have their own purpose. I don't know if you agree, Rona, if you do them all, but there's also so many touch points in your industry that trying to repurposing content across like you could do your social media based on a blog that you've done, like tips to not double up your work, which I'm sure you do already, but yeah, they all have a purpose. Which
Yeah,
keeps us
they do. Yeah, they do. You're right. And I think you know, it's important to sort of try and use a multifaceted approach and just try and take advantage of all the tools that are out there now. There's so many, and just sort of, you know, just make your productivity a little bit quicker, and you know, help us get more done. But yeah, thanks again
Okay.
Yeah.
this morning. It's been really good.
Great.
Oh,
And we'll
brilliant.
follow up with emails and stuff. And this has been recorded. So yeah, really appreciate it. And I was meant to say bye to Oliver because he puts them in, but I got distracted. But he said he will try GPT and we'll stay tuned. Thank you. So
Oh, sorry, you've
Ah.
gone a bit over
no, it's
time.
fine. No,
Sorry to
oh
keep
no,
you.
you're okay. He said he didn't have a question anyway. So at the top, no question, just thanks. So
Oh, fine.
it was all good. He didn't have a question.
Okay. Thanks, ladies.
Great.
Have a
Thank
good
you
rest
so
of the day.
much.
Brilliant.
Yeah, enjoy your
Thanks
weekend.
very much. You too.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Have a lovely weekend. Bye bye.